Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Everything looks to be in order. Chapter 14. Flickering on a light, a great bear of a man stoops low to pass through the timekeeper doorway that's hidden behind the grandfather clock. He's tall and sturdy, like a grandfather clock itself came to life. There's no telling how long he'd been there listening. He wears a maroon cloak embroidered with golden threads and an hourglass design. Chestnut beard hugs his square jaw. His woolly brown hair looks as though it was once combed into a precise part, but is frazzled now. His face is pale and sagging, as though he hadn't slept in ages. The lenses of his brass spectacles are twin clock faces, complete with tiny ticking hands. How he sees through them, I don't know. They are so many ticking clocks on his spectacles, in his pockets around his neck, and strapped to his wrist, that my mind can barely form a single thought amid the dim. How can he stand the distractions? Father Time, I guess, drawing myself to my full height. A year ago, I would have melted into a puddle of nerves to meet the ruler of such a powerful realm. But now I'm a queen too. It isn't something I just have to remind myself. I feel it sewn into me. I am. His clasp voice checks with the same regularity as the massive brass gears overhead as he pulls a clock out from his left hand pocket to wind it, then fumbles with an alarm clock draped around his neck. Distractedly, he says, "And you, Sally, the Queen of Halloween Town. This is Luna from Dreamtown, and Scorch from Fabletown. We need your help." One of the three wristwatches on his arm trills with an alarm, and he mutes it under his breath as he silences it. Never enough time. Another alarm chimes, and he pats his pocket trying to find the clock as he says, "I've been searching for you. My timekeepers informed me of your visit. Foreigners in Timetown are strictly regulated. You see, there are protocols, rules, everything to protect the flow of time." I edge backwards, uncertain, as he adjusts a sundial ring on one finger. Ruling a realm is stressful. I know that as well as anyone. but I've never met any king or queen who seems to be be as overworked as Father Time. From the deep wrinkles on his face, this instant intense overwork of managing dozens of clocks, each of which must correspond to different tasks, has been going on for some time. It leaves my nerves jangling. So much pressure can't make for an effective ruler, can it? We mean the flow of time, no harm, I say. It wasn't even our intent to come here. Someone interfered with my spell, and this is where we appeared. We only came back to fix the broken clock. We didn't break it, Luna vows. Someone else did it. Maybe the person who sent us here. Father Time finally silences his various alarms and chimes, then sighs deeply. Is that so? He climbs the ladder with a groaning complaint from his knees to inspect the banged up Halloween clock. A broken holiday clock is a serious issue. I avert one catastrophe only to deal with another. There simply isn't enough time to get everything done, tune up, repaired, and when I'm doing it all on my own, he looked so warily that in that moment that my clock heart beats with sympathy. I know what it feels like to be pulled in so many directions at once. Do you know how to make it work again? I sink to my knees, gazing up at the clock as my hands begin to tremble. I don't want to touch it and make it worse. Ever since I sacrificed my poor hands to Lady Seraphina's cauldron, they quake like autumn leaves afraid of further torment. I clutch them close to my chest, letting my heartbeat make a silent promise that I'll never let them go again. The clock hands are broken, I whisper to Father Time. Worried further talk of broken hands will upset my own too. Someone knocked it off the shelf, and Halloween Town was thrown into the past. We traveled all the way to Fabletown to find an answer, but when we came back and tried to mend the clock, we sent Halloween Town too far in the other direction. Father Time listened distractedly, sparing a moment of insult. A sundial affixed to his left shoe. Let me explain it. I have a heavy clock onto his burly arms, my teeth snarling at my bottom lip while I wait for him to inspect my repair job on the clock gears, but all he does is tuck the skeleton figure back into the cuckoo's door with a sigh. I'm afraid broken parts aren't what needs fixing here. The holiday clocks were made with ancient magic that transcends springs and gears. Even if the finest clockmaster rebuilt this from scratch, your holiday town would not find itself in the proper time. It's the magic that is broken. A brick sinks into the pit of my stomach, weighing me down until I can barely stand on my own 2 feet. There must be something we can do. We need to reset the magic itself. Father Time's deep voice catches as the clock face on his spectacles spin. He rests his hand on the empty marble pedestal with the forever hourglass label. There is only one timepiece that can do that. Centuries ago, the forever hourglass forged into the shape of an infinity loop, but the very first timekeeper, by the very first timekeeper, and filled with grains of crystals made from ground inertia stones. The forever glass has been turned only in times of great need, such as when the inertia stones dammed up the river of time, flooding our land with misplaced moments. It has always been kept on this marble pedestal. However, before you arrived in town, he taps a chrome watch on his wrist. It was discovered stolen. I can only blame myself. I should have been here keeping an eye on the thing, but I was away on business, inspecting the mines, gathering reports from the river timekeepers, repairing the clock in the chrono marketplace. His breath grows ragged, as though he could continue to rifle off his duties for hours. That explains why the pedestal was empty, I say, but who would steal the forever glass? He glances at the gears overhead, mumbling to himself as though mentally dealing with a dozen problems at once besides our own. We have our own inspection. Oh, we have our own suspicions? Oh, suspects. I'm stupid. We have our own suspects, chiefly the Tooth Fairy.
I knew it!
The Tooth Fairy, I exclaim. We've had our own trouble with her in Halloween Town. He nods as if it doesn't surprise him. She was spotted outside the Hall of Time late last night, and she's known for thievery.
I knew it.
As it happens, I was on my way to Tooth Town to investigate her, but I was delayed by a report of a sudden crop of fresh inertia stones damming up the river. I had a poor opinion. I had a poor opinion of the Tooth Fairy since our run-in at the All Realms Gathering. It's true, but I've always felt like our town's intentions were a bit of innocent rivalry spun up by a hot-tempered fairy. Besides, my parents still maintain hope that the Tooth Fairy will one day be a partner realm again. Now, however, a dark fear crawls up my spine. What if the Tooth Fairy isn't just a isn't just petulant, but truly malicious. I press one hand to my mouth as if they can't quell the rising bitter fear behind my teeth. Oh no. I know 3 things about the culprit who has been out to get Halloween Town. Oh, I know 3 things about the culprit who's been out to get Halloween Town. First, they can fly. Second, they like to steal. And third, they have a motivation to destroy our town. Until now, I could not fathom who in all the realms would not only be powerful enough to put an end to our frightful holiday, but also have a reason to. But the answer now pricks me like a mosquito bite. My dang it, my pinky finger drags along the sharp rim of my bottom teeth, and I shiver. It all makes sense now, I murmur, then let my hands fall. When Luna, Scorch, and Father Time peer at me curiously, I pace while I explain. The Tooth Fairy must be the person who's been causing us so much trouble. She was the one who switched the Jimson dust for licorice root. She broke the Halloween clock while trying to steal it, and she's the powerful foe who will destroy Halloween Town in the future if we don't stop her. Scorch's flame suddenly sputters in strange bursts, snagging my attention, but before I can ask if he's okay, Luna blurts out, but I don't understand why she would do that. I smack one fiber fist into my opposite palm for the exact reason she told me to stop us from rotting children's teeth with candy. But that's ridiculous. But that's a ridiculous reason, Luna chimes in. And what are fairies not bleh, and what are fairies if not quick-tempered? I continue. Waspish, irrational, Luna peeks up at the clock gears high on the ceiling. Her face scrunched in thoughts. Finally, she puffs out a breath that rustles her yarn hair. Do you really think so? The Tooth Fairy has always been friendly on her visits to Dreamtown. Yes, because Toothtown and Dreamtown are allies. She needs your wares to keep children asleep. It has to be her, I insist. Who else is powerful enough to destroy an entire realm except another ruler? I pivot towards Father Time for his confirmation. He plucks at his long beard, anxious, further musing it, his clockwork spectacles hiding whatever thoughts are circling in his head. That is a question you'll have to answer for yourself, Queen Sally. Here, we read only time, we cannot read truth. Then we'll go to Toothtown, I say, pushing my feet and smoothing out my skirt. We'll get Forever Glass back, reset Halloween Town's time, and confront the Tooth Fairy once and for all. We'll stop her in the present before she can destroy our future. I spin on Father Time, who is busy winding a brass clock hanging around his neck before the gears run down. You say you are heading to Toothtown before our business came up, so you must know how to get there. Yes, but I don't have the time to show you the way. I know where Toothtown door is, I insist. If you can just tell us how to get back to the hinterlands, I can find my own way from there. An alarm beeps on one of his watches, and he takes a miniature hourglass from his pocket and turns it before answering. We've spent centuries carefully hiding our doorways to the other realms. We can't have visitors tripping around, making a mess of time. As for the forever hourglass, I, Father Time, leader of Time Town, I shall search for it myself. Once more, finished dealing with the cave-in at the silver mine. Oh, yeah, finished dealing with the cave-in at the silver mine. Okay. Frowning, he glances down at his digital alert flashing on a watch. I can just make out the words emergency South Chrono Mine. His anxious fingers reach for another clock. I rest my soft hand on his wrist, silencing a good portion of the insistent ticking. Holding his gaze as one ruler to another, I say firmly, you are Father Time, but you are only one person. No one can shoulder the burden of an entire realm on their own. Instead of trying to solve everything yourself, trust us to take on this task. With pride burning in my eyes, I turn to Luna and Scorch. The three of us solved the riddle of Lady Lore's cauldron, and we found our way back here against all odds. There's nothing two ragdolls and a dragon can't do when they decide to be heroes. Scorched tail lights fades to a barely there flicker as though shy at all my praise. Keeping his head low, he roots around his satchel. Father Time's massive shoulders sink a solid 6 inches as the ancients inch to all of his features melt away. Even the ticking of his spectacle clock seemed to slow. Another clock chimes, but he ignores it this time. Perhaps you're right, Queen Sally. I've been trying to do everything on my own for so long that I've grown accustomed to the pressure. In fact, the pressure feels as much a part of me as the air in my lungs. Strange to think I could change that. He wraps his clock around his chest. Yeah, he wraps his clock around his chest, further muffling the ticking of the clock weighing him down around his neck. There is a doorway from Time Town to the hinterland. Unlike the other doorways, ours is a trapdoor hidden in a hollowed out stump beneath a cover of leaves. Follow the river of time to the Chrono Valley. Chrono Valley. Once you pass the covered bridge, you'll find a path to the left. Follow it to the stump. He takes off his spectacles, folding them to store them in his pocket. The cello skin around his eyes already looks healthier without the spinning clock hands blurring his vision. He seems to see clearly for the first time in years. Thank you. I touch the seam running down my chest in gratitude. I might not bear the burden of his heavy flocks, but I understand the feeling of juggling so many competing needs. Before you go, I have something for you, Father Time. Unbuckles one of the watches from around his wrist. The same heavy brass one that circles every Time Town resident's arm. Up close, it's a fine watch I have ever seen. Oh, it's the finest watch I've ever seen. Not to mention the strangest. Its strap is leather, engraved with intersecting hourglasses. The watch is oversized with 3 sets of hands, silver ones, gold ones, and black ones. I know the dial on the right side controls the direction and speed of the wearer's time, but the tiny brass bell on the top is a mystery. To my surprise, Father Time folds the watch onto my hand. Take this as Time Town's contribution to your mission. If I cannot help you, at least my watch can. Move the dial to the left to move backwards, right to move forward, and push it to freeze time. The bell will chime 3 times to warn you when the freezing is winding down. Then you'll return to the present. The watch is as intimidating as it is promising. I try to fasten the strap around my cloth wrist, but it's much too big, so Luna helps me knot the leather band instead. The wristwatch convex glass convex glass surface distorts the image of my face so that my eyes look twice their size. In the reflection, I can see the little ragdoll girl I used to be, so full of love, with nowhere for it to go. Not until I met Jack, became queen of the land of monsters, and fell in love with my new home. Thank you, I say reverently, covering Father Time's wristwatch protectively with my other hand. The clock tower's exposed gears shuffle overhead, bells ring, and changing hours, sending vibrations through the entire building. Half a dozen of Father Time's clock alarms go off at once, sending him grumbling as he replaces his spectacles and checks the time pieces. I feel like time is slipping away. I exchange nods with Luna and Scorch. They stand tall and ready, anxious to stride towards the arched door with the mirror clasping in one hand, but then a glint off the wristwatch rounds the glass windows, snags my eye. For a second, I feel as though I were back in Dr. Finkelstein's laboratory, pinned beneath the scrutinizing lenses of his magnifying glasses. My heartbeat wanes like a sewing machine's bobby pin. I pause, then turn back towards Father Time, cheeks warming as I ask hesitantly, "Before I go, I have one question." The word caught in my throat with a bitter taste of formaldehyde, and it takes a few tries to swallow them down. Your timekeepers have the ability to move forward and backward in time. Can they all also erase the past? Father Time pauses, turning a white sand hourglass strapped to his belt to look up. I can feel Luna's gleaming eyes on me, the heat from Scorch's tail fire making sweat break out from my temple. Still, every dragon's fire can't warm the shadows lingering beneath my wintry blue skin. That unseen shadow is as cold as the stone floor of Dr. Finkelstein's residence. But maybe I can change that. Erase my past, the abduction years of servitude disguised as a daughter. When I think back on those years, I feel like I'm shrinking against the weight of the world. At night, I still have nightmares that I'm under Dr. Finkelstein's magnifying glasses, his face distorted into a monstrously huge, peering green spectacle lenses. I feel so small beneath that ever judging eyes, ever judging eye. Insignificant and afraid. You don't belong anywhere, Sally. Halloween Town is known for its scares, but there is no monster more frightening than my own memories. Father Time strokes his long beard as he considers my question. I hold my breath, both afraid and hopeful of his answer. Finally, his chipped voice explains, as steady as a ticking clock. Blah, you are asking the wrong person. Yeah, you're asking the wrong questions, my dear. The question isn't if we can change the past. It's why would you want to? I blinked hard before sputtering. Of course I want to. If you only knew. My words die when I glimpse Luna tucking a strand of hair behind her fabric ear, big eyes fixed on me. It seems perfectly sensible that a ragdoll like me, stolen from my world, wants to blurt out a painful past. I haven't wondered what I've often wondered what my life would have been like if Dr. Finkelstein had never stolen me away. In Luna's bright, curious eyes, I have a small piece of my answer, and yet seeing myself mirrored in her, all I can think about is what I don't see. Her cloth feet aren't stained with cemetery dirt. Her stitches aren't patched with the old strand of witch's hair. She wears no wedding ring of bone white. She isn't just a younger, happier version of me. We are each our own person with our own strengths and challenges. If Dr. Finkelstein hadn't stolen me, I'd never have discovered the beautiful darkness of Halloween Town. I wouldn't wake up every morning to ravens calling the town band's melodic melodies. Wouldn't follow my Mandarin steps. Almost, most of all, I never have met Jack. I twist a wedding ring around my wrinkled linen finger. Father Time glances impatiently at his watch on his, patiently at the watch as the clock ticks around us, forever reminding me that time is running out. I take a deep breath. I think I understand. I would never wish my past on anyone, least of all my younger self, but that part of me is not one, that part of me, and not the one I can detect with a snap of a string. Every time that happened to me under Dr. Finkelstein's roof, I wove into my very fiber. The bell tower the bell tower ceases chiming, the final toll reverberating all the way down to my toes. I'm not sure what to do with this freshly unearthed truth. It bumps around inside me like a clock ticking off its schedule. So I tuck it away to hold up to the light later. Setting my shoulders square, I say to Luna and Scorch, it's time for us to go. We have a tooth fairy to stop. And I need water, because I think I'm going to stroke. Sorry about that. Ugh. Father Time's brass watch steadily ticks on my wrist as we pass by Time Town shops, then follow the river of time towards the valley. It isn't long before we see the covered bridge with a path branching off to the left towards the steep Amethyst Chrono Mountains. The wind shifts, and I realize that our usual chorus of cuckoo birds has gone silent. There it is, Luna cries out. A massive stump is half hidden beneath a wall of towering oak. At first glance, it looks worn and rotted. Just another stump in any forest, but as we weave our way towards it, the fabric in my arm begins to prickle. There's a strange breeze coming from the stump. carrying the chill that only the hinterlands holds. Scorch puffs a massive breath into the stump, sending the leaves covering, fluttering up towards the sky. Before the leaves tumble back down around our shoulders, a heavy trapdoor with an iron ring is revealed. It takes all three of us heaving on the iron ring before the door groans open. A blustering chill wails out from the pitch black shadows within. I have always stepped through a doorway, never gone down. Scorch first, the dragon offers, giving his wings a flutter, soft landing. He disappears through the trapdoor, then Luna, then with one last whispered prayer to the river of time to help me set things right, I follow. A dragon's wings, as it happens, makes an excellent place to land. Scorch catches Luna in his left wing and me in his right. We bounce off softly and bounce softly on the webbed scales until he gently lowers his wings and we slide off like we're on a child's playfort. Overhead, the towering trees over us. Oh, the trees tower over us with bare branches. Not quite pine, not quite oak, but something in between. We've entered the hinterlands. I spin a slow circle to get my bearings. There in the valley that falls off to the left, I recognize the clear, thick of land. Yeah, thick of land, that track that leads to Dreamtown. Which means the grove of 7 holiday doors is over the third hill that rises in the distance. As much as I want to run to Halloween Town, I'm afraid to. Halloween Town, including its door, is still stuck in the far future. My heart would break to see my town's beloved door with a rusted doorknob, peeling paint, and long ago rotten boards. Sally, Luna asks. I snap out of my worries, pivoting with purpose towards the pathway that led Jack and I mapped out by heart. I know where we are. Toothtown's door is this way. We hurry along the path through the thicket of tall, swaying trees, through the hinterland shadows, and shadows are thick. Scorch's tail light shimmers like a beacon. Luna and I run to keep up with his long strides, our feet kicking up dry dirt clouds. I direct them and breathless, we finally stop at a short, squat tree whose trunk is carved in knots the size of my fist. Covered in knots the size of my fist. Yeah. This is it, I say. Using his tail as a torch, Scorch thrusts it near the trunk's fork base. where something small and white gleams between the roots. Luna drops to crouch, brushing twigs off the way to reveal a door barely tall enough for a mouse. A painted tooth is carved into the wood and painted white. Luna scrunches her fabric nose as she tries to measure the door with her palm. How are we supposed to fit through that? We aren't. The door is just for pixies, I smile, knowing a circle to the far side of the tree where a full-size door is carved with a colorful pattern of big white teeth and shiny gold coins. To Scorch, I explain, Tooth Town, Tooth Town's pixies are the ones who collect teeth from under children's pillows. They're no bigger than a bumblebee. Yeah, bumblebee bat. But the Tooth Fairy herself is our size. And today we're coming to collect from her. I reach for the golden knob, which reflects my determined face. We find ourselves stepping into the riotous, overgrown garden. The air is perfumed with the heady, sweet scent of flowers that burst from the beds in a jumble of overgrown colors. Delphinium's purple spikes stretch towards the sky, while climbing roses takes over picket fences, and trellises long vines of ground ivy. Yeah, ivy invade a patch made of small white petals. Gnarled fruit trees replace petals fluttering on the breeze like they have lived lives of their own. Without the fence and pathway, there'd be no sense of order to the floral chaos. Jack and I have never set foot in Tooth Town before, given our troubles with the Tooth Fairy, so I really have no knowledge of this world. I duck under a spray of pom-pom dahlias, shielding my eyes, shading my eyes and tiptoeing to search around, but there's no sign of any town. Scorch, can you fly over the trees to spot Tooth Town? He attempts to stretch his wings, but they bump against the overgrown flower bed on both sides. The garden is too tight for him to get a full wingspan. Suddenly, a tiny giggle near my ear makes me jump. You're standing right in the middle of town, Sally. I spin around. I spin towards the high-pitched voice that that tinkled like a bell. There's no one there. Eh, A chill runs up my fabric arm. Are there ghosts in this world like there are at home? My shoes crunch over the white pedal as I turn in unsteady circle. Hello? I call out curiously. We don't know if everyone in Tooth Town is as nefarious as the Tooth Fairy, so I stop myself from rushing in with accusations of theft on my lips. To my surprise, one of the fluttering apple bloom petals comes to rest on the tip of my index finger. It isn't a petal at all, it's a person. She's scarcely bigger than a cabbage butterfly with teensy greenish white wings. Her hair is a matching white, combed in a circle around each of her fluttering antenna. Feathery antenna. Welcome to Tooth Town, she says with a friendly flutter of her wings. I gasp, you're a tooth pixie. She giggles into her minuscule hands. My name is Pearl. I'm one of the teeth collectors in the human world. She sweeps her miniature hands towards the tidily constructed path underfoot. Lifting my shoe hesitantly, I realize the petals aren't petals, but baby teeth. Another pixie, this one with a tiger striped wings of a swallowtail butterfly lands on Scorch's nose. His amber eyes cross as he tilts his head, trying to focus on her. Oh, I see. I still feel a little dizzy with all the pixies fluttering around the air. Now that I know what they are, I recognize some of them are carrying teeth clutched clutched in their arms. But where's the Tooth Fairy? I ask. Right here. You're standing in the garden marketplace. Oh, but where's Tooth Town? I ask. You're standing right in the middle of the marketplace. I peer over the overgrown flower bed, and suddenly my eyes pick out tiny doors and windows, a red cape toadstool as a chandel a miniature chimney, a two-story house no bigger than my shoe is built into the root of an apple tree. All around us, dyed ivy vines have been woven into tiny shops and houses like overturned baskets. Luna and I exchange startled looks, to then drop to hands and knees to see better. The pixies floating around the marketplace, trading teeth for tiny airbrushes made from furs for acorn caps filled with steaming tea. A tiny painted sign hangs outside a shop reading the Broken Tooth Cafe honey buns, only one molar, and outside of a mole hill, a painted east. I can turn a page. Painted east of bark reads, Wisdom Tooth Primary School, Little child-sized pixies scramble out, laughing at schoolyard jokes, and takes to the skies with their butterfly wings. A monarch winged pixie flutters over to Luna with a blueberry clutched in her arms. She drops it into Luna's palm with a sly smile for you. Oh, thank you. Luna pops the berry into her mouth and gives the pixie a thumbs up. Pearl flutters off to offer me one of the acorn cat teacups, which I politely drink down in a single sip. A handful of pixie children land on Scorch's snout, marveling at his 6-inch fangs. He holds his head steady for them, grinning to show off his teeth, and questions. Oh, dragon's teeth, Pearl cries, clasping her hands. Your scaly friend is a celebrity here. Dragons are the only creatures that do not lose their teeth. We've never had one pass through Tooth Town before, so you can imagine how special it is to see one. As the pixies fawn all over Scorch, Luna whispers to me, everyone is so welcoming, I can't imagine these friendly pixies would ever steal a forever glass. I scratch my fingernails against my linen scalp. A pair of pixies is polishing Scorch's lopsided fang with velvet panish? Velvety pansy petals. Another one is weaving buttercups between the strands of his crimson hair. It's true they can't. It's true they can't be any kinder. Suddenly, I clear my throat. Pearl, we need to speak to the Tooth Fairy. It's of grave importance. Pearl's tiny wings carry her a few feet down the path where it branches. She sweeps her hand towards the left. Just down this way, you'll find her at the garden house. We bid farewell to Pearl and the other tooth pixies, then follow the windy path past an overgrown gazebo buzzing with pixies carrying teeth towards downtown after caressing a hillside full of blooming, sunny blooming gorse. A cottage raises before us, half hidden by shadows and shadowy bursts of flowers. That must be the garden house, Luna says. It must. It's much humbler than Dreamtown's stately governor residence and town hall at home, but it isn't. But it is our size. The sun breaks through the cottage. The sun breaks from a cotton cloud overhead, and a ray chases away the shadows covering the garden house. With a small cry, I realize that I've seen the front door before. It's a coffin lid from our cemetery that went missing several months ago. Much to the annoyance of the vampires, the breeze ruffles certain hanging. Hang on.
Blech.
Ruffles curtains hanging in the open window. And I give another start. They are the same spiral pattern magic curtains we sewed. Same magic spiral pattern magic carpet we saw for sale in Fabletown Market. I carefully look. Tells me the garden house chimney isn't made of bricks, but ceramic Easter egg. Yes, ceramic Easter egg paint pots. Dozens of tin Christmas ornaments hanging from the porch rafters like wind chimes. It's a complete hodgepodge. No object belongs where it should, and nothing about this quaint house should work, and yet somehow it does. In fact, it's strangely beautiful as a light catches on the roof top tiles with aquamarine mermaid shell from the Fable Sea. My breath catches for some reason I can't put my finger on. I feel tears building up from the bottom rim of my eyes. Something about the cobbled together house feels like peering in a mirror. Puffs of white smoke steam rise from Scorch's snout as he announces pretty. Luna whirls around. Pretty, yes, Scorch, but it's all stolen. Don't you see? The entire garden house was built from objects the Tooth Fairy took from other worlds. I bet you a pearl button. She has the forever hourglass squirreled away in that pretty mess. Luna throws her hands up, puffing out an exhale. Puffing out an exhale. Right, Sally? I blink away the crystalline tears tangled in the long swoop of my eyelashes. Luna exclaims, "Sally, what's wrong?" Still can't stop. Still can't stop staring at the beautiful but misplaced cottage cobbled together from so many different worlds to form something like I've never seen before. There's a strange harmony among the riffraff, a feeling that somewhere in this mess there's a sense of peace. It it's just the pollen on the wind. I quickly wipe my eyes. Standing tall, I say, "Come on, let's set time right." Yeah, that is the end of chapter 14. We're going to be starting up chapter 15 later. I'm pretty sure I am having a full-on stroke because I do not know flowers. Thank you for listening. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.